Hi guys, Blake here today with Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on Lake Taneycomo. It is Saturday, June the 5th, and I'm going to do the one cast for you today. So, today I have boated up. I'm not more than maybe a mile, maybe just a touch more away from the resort. I am sitting over here right at the end of the bluff across from Short Creek, just a little bit up there on my right. I guess that'd be your guys' left. I'm kind of starting right on the top of this flat that works over kind of down to Trout Hollow Lodge. And today I'm going to throw something new, something I haven't tried yet. The guy, and I apologize for not knowing his name, who pours all of our jig heads for our pink power worms, brought some flies that he tied in for us to try and to sell in the shop. I don't even know what he's calling it, but essentially it's a piece of a mega worm, just a tiny piece, tied on to a 100th ounce jig head. So to me it's kind of like a micro mop worm, and they're running about 5,000 cubic feet per second right now. We started this morning off with the real slow half unit again, and they kind of bumped it up to the unit and a half range in that 5,000 cubic feet, a little more, a little less, depending on the hour. So the way I've got this rigged up, I've got that little micro mop, I guess is what we're going to call it for now. I've got a size AB weight about 12 to 14 inches above that mop. I've got maybe a total of, let's see, I got just about 7.5 foot a liter total on this rod. This is a 7.5 foot Temple Fork 3-weight 7'6" 2-piece Lefty Cray Signature Series. We actually sell this rod up in the shop. It's going to be for your lighter weight fishing. If you hook into a really big trout on this thing, you're going to be fighting it for a long time. This is a rod I love to go to Bennett Springs with and throw dry flies. It's great for presenting dry flies. I've got that with a rudder 3-weight reel that we sell up in the shop, and this is actually the rudder fly line too, 3-weight double taper floating. Anyway, it's getting a little cloudy out here, looking like it might try to rain on us, and they are calling again for rain in all this upcoming week. I don't think we were supposed to get any today, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. It sure kind of looks and feels like it at the moment. I'm going to let my boat get to drifting to speed here. I know that as I get a little closer into the flat, my depth on the bottom is going to change to that 6 foot range. Sometimes it gets as shallow as 5.5 foot. So I've got this set at about 5.5 foot right now, maybe just closer to 6. I've got one of the indicator I've got on there is one of those airlock indicators. It's the smallest size that we sell up in the shop, and it is plenty still to hold up that size AB weight and that 100th ounce jig head that's tied onto the front of that micro mop. I think I'm gonna set down for today. There was a slight bit of wind blowing through here when I first pulled up, which I was kind of hoping would stay. That wind helps make chop on the water, which helps keep the visibility down there a little less for the fish. Sometimes that helps with getting them to bite when they can't see what they're eating quite as good. Lots of good fishing reports again today. Lots of people catching fish. We had a lot of fish being caught off the dock this morning on night crawlers and power eggs. Captain Jeremy Rasnick said they were doing really well in the Trophy area, drifting scuds under a float. There's a fish. Oh, he's a flyer. And then he said they did really good drifting night crawlers outside of the trophy area. Captain Dwayne said they had a morning full of catching fish. I believe they started off on some jerk baits this morning, and then they drug some jerk baits up there in the trophy area, and that 639 is still doing really well. The signature series. All right, that's a fish on the first cast again. He really tried to eat that. There he is. All right, this little micro mop might just come in handy on days when the water's this slow. Now normally, if the water was moving that half unit like it was this morning, I would have just stuck to drifting the bait by itself without a split shot. But I'm using that amount of split shot just to make sure that that bait is straight up and down underneath the indicator and not getting drug up behind the indicator and picked up into the current where it isn't close enough to the bottom for them to see. Oh, there was another bite. Pink seems to always be a good color out here. I was just talking to a gentleman who says he watches the one cast frequently. I didn't catch his name, but he's just fishing right down here below us, kind of across from Trout Hollow in the eddy. And he was using a, to me, I can't remember what it's called, but it's kind of like it's almost pink power wormish. It's a pink rubber tube. He says they use it for catching different types of bass where he was from. But he said that he was really catching them good down there in that eddy with that. And it just looked like a little pink rubber tube. On a jig head. And he wasn't using it under an indicator, he was just casting it out and fishing it back to the boat. So pink might also be a hot color today. And I had a few other people tell me that drifting night crawlers up here this morning was really good. They were catching a lot of fish. There's that wind. I was sitting here stepping on my trolling motor, wondering why it wasn't going anywhere. I hadn't turned the speed dial up yet. Kind of helpful. We're seeing a large quantity of trophy fish, trophy catch and release certificates being turned in up at the shop. I think I heard of 2 more today from a guide trip. 2 more fish over 20 inches. That was the gentleman I was just talking about right there. It's nice to be able to get out here and throw some lighter weight equipment with a lot less leader underneath it. And it actually been a slower Saturday here on the lake today. We haven't rented out nearly as many boats. Probably the least busy Saturday in 2 months. But it is another beautiful day. We got the cloud cover rolling in now, but still right at about 80 degrees with the wind and the clouds, maybe 79, 78. I'm gonna start working my way into this eddy over here. I want to try my hand at some of the fish setting in the eddy. There's one. Ooh, that one might have a little more size on it. Whenever I'm reeling a fish in with a fly rod, I know that this is a lot of the stuff that I don't talk about, but I always keep the line underneath my pinky. Now there's many ways to do it, so don't count mine as the rule. But I always keep this hand with the line. That way whenever the fish runs, I can let it have line, or I can stop it and then use it to pull the line back in. And I usually reel my fish in using my excess line. I usually don't make it to the reel. It takes a pretty big fish to get me to have to reel it in using the reel. I just feel like I have a lot more control. Like whenever they run like that, I've got all this extra here and I can just let them go with it. Now, the only problem with that is if, in the off chance, it gets tangled around something, then you let go and they take off with it and it snaps. So, I guess the plus and minus is there, but I think this is a nicer fish here. Definitely giving me the business. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty rainbow there. It's not like the net. There we go. All right, buddy. There we go. Well, they're eating that little mop pretty good whenever they eat it. They're taking it inside the mouth. Must look pretty good. That's definitely a more decent fish there. Alright, we'll try a second longer now that I've made it over to the eddy. I kind of caught him right in front of the eddy. I haven't changed my depth at all. I'm just fishing a little closer to the inside of the eddy, but the water does, the flat kind of ends where these trees are down in the water where you see people tied up a lot at, and then the water gets a lot deeper. It drops into the channel. Wow. Oh, I ripped it out of his mouth. Well, I say the test trial on this little guy is has been a good one today. I thought, you know, just based on its size and everything, that it looked like it would be a pretty good fly to use. And I think it's going to be pretty good for any of these minimal flows, or maybe even with the water off. I know that the mega worm itself works fairly good in these kind of flows and when the water's off. So I couldn't see why a smaller version of it wouldn't work maybe even better. And when I'm fishing some real still water like this eddy, I don't let it set in one spot for too long. I'll kind of shake it, or I'll take, wow, big wakes, or I'll take and I'll pull some line in, kind of give it some movement back towards the boat, kind of get it in a new spot. There's one. All right. When I set the hook on a fish, I see that bobber go under, I lift straight up with the rod and I pull down with that line that I'm holding. And that's how you get your traditional trout hook set. I'll probably regret it if I don't get the net out and use it. There's another one. I don't know if you can see him from over there. All right, we'll try one more time, see if we can get one more talked into it. I think I just felt a raindrop. I guess it is gonna rain. Oh, as soon as I went to pull that out of the water, he hit it. Well, I think I'm gonna have to add the micro mop to my arsenal for slow water conditions. I also think I might have to get out of here. I'm not prepared for a rain. It is starting to rain. Oh, there he was again. Whenever I bring my fly off the water, if it's too far out there and you're using that indicator, I'll bring that in a little bit until I can lift up and to where there's no line touching the water and the bobber's the only thing. Then you pull back to about 2 o'clock and then send it forward again. If you try to do it all at once, usually the line will pull the bobber under, and then you're trying to pull the bobber out from underneath the water and or the indicator, and it can get a little hard to cast that way. All right, one more try. Okay, I lied. One more try. Tell you the one thing I like about this style of mop worm is you don't have to worry about the mop being long and getting curled back around in the tail and hooked on the hooked to itself. It is not long enough for that. Okay, well, we thank you guys for watching today. Like and share us on Facebook. I think we've got some of these available now in the shop if you're interested, and we will get back out here and do it for you again tomorrow. Thanks, guys.